Okay, 90. Is it, I'm gonna call it Helen. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, Helen. It was wrong for my brother Mark to tell our mother that the reason he had missed her birthday party the evening before was that he had been in a traffic accident, and that by the time he was released from the hospital emergency room, the party was long over. Saying something that is false can never be other than morally wrong, and there has been no such accident. Mark had simply forgotten all about the party. So,
All right. So what's our conclusion?
saying something that is false can never be other than morally wrong.
No, what is Helen trying to convince us of?
Oh, that Mark had simply forgotten about the party.
That's what she's trying to convince us that Mark, she's trying to does that have to be proven or is that just a fact?
Oh, wait, no, that would be a fact.
Where does her opinion really come into this? Go ahead and where do we really hear what Helen thinks?
So she thinks that it was wrong for her brother Mark to
Yes.
tell.
So
Oh,
it
so,
was wrong of my brother Mark to tell her mother that the reason he had missed her birthday
oh,
party
jeez.
evening before was because he had been in a traffic accident. And all of this actually.
Oh, wow.
Actually, the conclusion is my brother was wrong, or Helen's brother was wrong. And
Okay.
so this sentence here where it says saying something is false can never be other than morally wrong.
Mhm.
That's what we call a principle, right? It's
Okay.
the rule of life. And why do we use principles in life?
To kind of guide us to the right path.
To
Right thing.
justify things, right? So if I might say, why I shouldn't be mean to you because you should treat others like you want to be treated. Like I use that thing, like you should treat others how you want to be treated. Like that's a principle, right?
Mhm.
I'm using that to justify the fact that I should be kind to you.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, that makes sense.
she uses this idea to justify what she's trying to do.
Okay.
And then we just have our principle that Mark had simply forgotten about the party. But our question then says the justification Helen offers for her judgment of Mark's behavior is most vulnerable. So, what is the flaw between Helen's reason for why Mark was wrong and Mark in the conclusion?
So, okay. Wait, did you want me to move to a question sense or try to?
Oh, try to predict. Yeah, tell
Oh,
me
okay.
why do you think that this what does her conclusion fail to consider, or what does she assume?
I feel like it fails to consider that maybe he was actually at the hospital.
But it tells us that Mark had simply forgotten all about the party, so we have to take that as true.
Oh, okay.
But
So,
it's her reasoning. So let's look at this reasoning. She's saying that something is false can never be other than morally wrong, and there had never been such accident.
mhm,
Um,
could never be other than morally wrong. That's false. Well, what if you kind of say something that's false to not hurt somebody's feelings? That's my first thought with that. That saying something is false.
it also I'm kind of we use this principle to justify it, but other than morally wrong, say can one maybe Mark doesn't care about being not being morally wrong.
Oh, okay.
She's assuming that Mark is wrong by doing something that isn't morally wrong, or by some, and I'm like, well, maybe he doesn't care, maybe he was right to do this still, even though morally he's like, I don't have morals, I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That's a really bad prediction, but that's what I'm going in with.
Okay, that makes sense then.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with A.
Okay. Ignores an important moral distinction between saying something that is false and failing to say something that one knows to be true. Ignores an important moral distinction between. I don't really like A.
Right, yeah, we're not, our issue isn't that we don't give the definition to because we don't say Mark would be right if he did this. That's not what our conclusion is, so that doesn't matter.
B confuses having identified one thing of a given effect with having a limited possibility of there being any other cause of that effect.
Do we have any causation things going on in our?
No, that doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, no. judges behavior that is outside an individual's control according to moral standards that can properly be applied only to behaviors that is within such control. Judges behaviors that is outside an individual's control. I could kind of see this one, but I'm not in love with this one, but I kind of want to keep it only because it says judges behaviors that is outside individual's control. And it's kind of just like Helen saying, kind of how you were saying, where if Mark doesn't care about being morally wrong,
Okay.
then that's out of his control.
All right, let's leave that one.
It relies on an illegitimate appeal to pity to obscure the fact that the conclusion does not logically follow with the premises advanced. I don't like this one.
Yeah, I don't think we rely on an illegitimate appeal to pity. I think if people selected D, it would be because they're like trying to determine the flaw in Mark.
Yeah.
He maybe has an illegitimate appeal to pity if you believed what he said, even though he's lying.
Then E, attempts to justify a judgment about a particular case by setting a general principle that stands in far greater need of support than does the particular judgment. By setting a general principle that stands in far greater need of support. I don't think the principle needs any more support.
So you're saying that this is the law no matter what?
Oh, that's what that would be stating then?
Yeah, this is, so what he is saying is attempts to justify a judgment about a particular case. Okay, so we do this, right?
The case being Mark not going to the party.
Do we cite a general principle that needs more support? I would say that for this to be a valid conclusion, we need to have more support for this.
Oh, okay.
Why is it relevant, or why does it have to be true?
Okay.
Like,
So then
why should I base my life on this principle?
okay. So that's where the vulnerability, so it would be E then.
Yes. And then C says judges' behavior that is outside an individual's control according to moral standards. So these moral standards can only properly be applied only to behavior within control. Can this statement here only be applied to behavior that is within our control?
No.
Right, no.
Yeah, no.
And is Mark's behavior outside his control?
No, because he chooses what he wants to do.
Right. He literally just forgot about the party, then lied. So that actually doesn't happen. We don't judge behavior that is outside it. Like, his decision to lie was completely in his control.
Okay, that makes sense. I feel like I was stuck up on the second part because when it says properly can be properly implied only to behavior that is within such control. I think I was kind of overthinking that. Whereas like if he doesn't, if his morals aren't high enough where he worries about being morally wrong, then I was like, oh, maybe that's why. I think that's what I was getting stuck up on.
Yeah, but I think the gap there then is that you're assuming that only more that can only be applied only to behavior that was within such control. Like, the within such control still isn't about if people want to follow it or not. It's talking about the actual if you can control your behavior or not.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah. All right.